this is the second part of the video, that is DNA fragmentation assay, and in this part I am going to explain about the protocol, like how one can perform this experiment in a laboratory setup. In the first part I give you a brief introduction, that what is apoptosis, what is necrosis, how this DNA fragmentation factor, which is a caspase dependent endonuclease, is discovered. Now if someone has to perform this experiment, how he or she can do it. So this is the protocol. Now it essentially consists of 3 steps. The number 1 is to harvest the cell, second is to precipitate the DNA, the third one is to load DNA in agarose gel. By the way, I have taken this just from the Abcam protocols. I will share this link to you as well. Now, what are the equipments required? The equipments required here is the microscope, centrifuge machine, laminar hood, CO2 incubator, water bath, agarose gel apparatus, gel casting tray, and power supply. So I think in previous videos also we have discussed this thing, so you are familiar with this. Agarose gel we also discussed, but in case you need, then we can discuss this more. Then what next we required? We required a mammalian cell culture. If you do not have this, then one can take the epithelial cells from the oral mucosa, which I also explained in the previous lecture, that how one can collect it. Then phosphate buffer saline, the media components, again depending upon the cell lines, also explained in the previous video, the glutamine. So that is the growth conditions. Besides this, for the DNA fragmentation, hydrogen peroxide, the DTT which is used, the NaCl which is a buffer component, and as well for the precipitation steps can be used, tritone S100 for the cell lysis part, proteinase K, the phenol chloroform isoamyl alcohol, the DNase free RNase. Okay, so DNase free RNase which is required so that the DNA fragmentation can be take place. Then obviously one requires the other things like ethidium bromides, the loading dye, the DNA ladder for the agarose gel. So these are the equipments and these are the materials which are required. Then gloves, pipettes and tips. Now it is the composition has been given: the cell lysis buffer, the extraction buffer, the proteinase K buffer. The cell lysis buffer is again differed from different lab setups, different cell cultures. But it is we are taking one of this. Okay, but as you can see, there is the detergent, and then you also see there is an extraction buffer. This will be revealed to you in a moment, that what is the use of this extraction buffer, and then proteinase K for degrading any peptide bonds. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so next question here is how we can collect these epithelial cells. These epithelial cells which we collect here is by the oral mucosa, which I explained in my previous video. So basically you take it with a dental brush, your tissues, then you give a wash and then you pellet and put in the culture medium. Okay, so like the first thing which I was mentioning here, this one, the epithelial cells. The second thing which is required here is your growing the cells. The growing is also explained in the previous lecture as well. So it can be used any medium. For cheek cells, the DMEM or RPM medium with specific antibiotics or glutamine can be added. This is the number of cells, like roughly like 10⁻⁶ cells can be used. Then now we are taking 4 or 6 microfuge tubes, okay, which is shown here. In first microfuge tubes, no hydrogen peroxide has been added. Then with a increasing concentration of hydrogen peroxide is been added, then is your another, you can say, the treatment which we are using is dithiothritol. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this will work as a control in the sense that there will be no DNA fragmentation as say with the stress, or whether the stress of this which you are giving hydrogen peroxide says to the cells whether it promotes the DNA fragmentation or not. And then we have using a DTT and another agent, and one can compare with the dithiothritol which is basically a reducing agent, and with the hydrogen peroxide. So incubate these cells which you have collected, grown for in a water bath for 30 minutes at 37 degrees Celsius with these components been added. The next step is the lysis of the cell. So before lysis, one can use the pellet the cells, normal routine process. Use the lysis buffer. The lysis buffer composition shown to you like consists of the Tritone X100 with the tris and EDTA. After this lysis step, one will centrifuge at 12,000 rpm for 10 minutes, and then they will discard the pellet now because the DNA will be in the supernatant, and in this supernatant, which can be allocated in 250 microliter, means two places, 250 microliter and 250 microliter, and then add the NaCl. You can calculate the NaCl, that how much it is coming, like you are using a 50 microliter from a 5 molar stock, so how much will be the concentration you can calculate. The next step is your precipitation step. So as I initially mentioned, that it essentially consists of 3 steps. So the lysis part is done. Now we are looking into the precipitation of the DNA. So for the precipitation of DNA, ethanol and sodium acetate is been used, so that your DNA will be in kind of a hanging situation. Addition of sodium acetates or the other salts, the polarity of the DNA, or you are not means you're taking out all the water molecules so that it will DNA will precipitate. Then to speed up the process, it has been observed that if you incubate the samples at minus 80 degrees for 10 minutes, or maybe if it is not available at minus 20 degrees for say 1 hour, the yield of the DNA or the precipitation process increases. The exact reason nobody knows, but the probable reason is like you are basically allowing that the movement should be less. So as I said, the exact reason nobody knows, like why the cold basically helps in precipitation, but it is a kind of a observation that you do these steps in cold, that by incubation at refrigerator, then it increases the yield of your DNA and the precipitation of DNA is more. So discard the supernatant at this stage. In the previous step, as I mentioned, discard the pellet because your DNA in the supernatant. In this time your DNA is in the pellet, so discard the supernatant. Now we are looking into the extraction buffer. So this is your extraction buffer, which the composition has also been shown to you. In this extraction buffer, you are basically adding the DNases. Now these DNases which you are adding, it will degrade your DNA. Now it is if you remember, if you think that we in the previous part 1 we talk about that we are talking about caspase dependent DNases. This is an in vitro experiment, that is in the natural scenario how in an in vivo situation the things is working. We are trying to perform this experiment in vitro, so you have to add the DNases to see the process. And the treatments which we are given here, that is the hydrogen peroxide treatments or the DTT, is to just to see whether these agents, one can use any other agents also, okay, whether these agents is could able to degrade the DNA or the speed up the process or not. Now it has to be incubated, at 1 hour at 37 degree. At this step you have an option, like if you want to go for a lunch or so, you can keep it for 2 hours or so. It will not affect the process. Even in the ABCOM protocol they are mentioning it is a 5-hour incubation. Then you will add the proteinase K in this particular concentration, and then you will incubate at 65 degrees at 1 hour. Now at this step you can also leave it for overnight as well. Now the proteinase K, it has been found that if you keep it the incubation temperature at 55 to 65 degree, it has got much better activity. Now why we are using this? We are using this because any of the nucleoproteins, if there is any residual, though we have added the DNAs or any before the proteinase K, but still if something DNA which has been protected by the histone proteins, the proteinase K will also remove that, and then you are adding the phenol chloroform in this ratio. Now you will discard the supernatant, and we will you will do a centrifugation steps obviously to get aqueous and the organic layer. Then is the next steps comes like the loading of DNA in the agarose gel. In this loading part, is you will be using the tris acetate EDTA and bromophenol blue, which is a tracking dye, and then you will observe the DNA in the ultraviolet region, in the ultraviolet rays. So what is the observation? The observation is something which one has to empirically look in and see how it is working, but it will be essentially like if this is a marker, this is your lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, lane 5, and whatever the lanes you have, you will observe some places there will be more fragmentation, in some places less fragmentation or so. This is like if you increase the concentration of hydrogen peroxide, then you probably will see and appear a more fragmentation. With DTT there will be more fragmentation. Where you have not added, there will be a less fragmentation. So this is more or less about the protocol, and I will stop here. Thank you.